What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word? Hummingbird. Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight UK, Season 7, Episode 6. Let's start off with Jess and PJ. They are in the Maldives for their honeymoon. You see, at first I was thinking to myself, all these beautiful places that they go for their honeymoon, the Maldives, Bavaria, Iceland. I thought to myself, wow, Married at First Sight US would never do something like that. Then I remembered all of these honeymoon destinations for the UK are all in Europe. So it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from the UK to go to Bavaria or Iceland or the Maldives. It's not like they have to go across an entire ocean like they would have if there was a Married at First Sight America. And that's why in America we only get the honeymoons in Jamaica and Florida and places like that, whereas the Married at First Sight UK, they can go to all these really different exotic places. Moving on. So Jess and PJ, they are honeymooning in the Maldives. Jess is still concerned about PJ being a stripper and the fact that he's living at home with his mom. What I want to understand is, if PJ is making so much money as a stripper, why is he living at home with his mom? I need to understand why that's happening. Why is that? What's going on there? So Jess tells PJ that his job as a stripper is going to keep him away from her because he's going to be working nights, working weekends, and she wants a lot of attention, and so she doesn't know how they're going to balance that out, with his job. PJ says he understands, but and he knows he's going to have to quit stripping at some point. He says this is not going to be permanent. At some point I will stop stripping. Justice's feelings her feelings for PJ are not quite the same as his feelings for her. It seems like he wants to present that his feelings for her are very deep. He's liking her more and more each day, kind of like he's falling for her. But Jess is still not there yet. To her, she kind of still sees him more as a friend than anything romantic. So they go swimming with the sharks, okay? And literally swimming with the sharks. I didn't understand how people could do this. So you're literally going into the ocean and there's sharks all around. The sharks approach the boat and you see them through the water. You see them swimming there, and you will actually dive into the water where they're at. So they're both very apprehensive about it, because anybody would be. But Jess, she goes ahead and she takes the plunge, whereas PJ, at first he psyched himself into actually thinking that he was going to do it, and I thought that he was going to do it, but at the last minute he changed his mind and decided that no, he wasn't going to jump into the ocean. Jess is already in there. She's got her snorkeling gear on and she's going underwater and she's becoming one with the sharks, and PJ is still on the boat. And he's like, no, I'm not going to jump in. And so she tries to get him to jump in. She's like, are you going to jump in? Are you going to come in and protect me? And he was like, no, I'll just watch. And she didn't like that. So she wanted somebody to be a little bit more fearless, willing to take chances, take risks with her, and he couldn't do it. He could not do it. So the last night of their honeymoon, Jess opens up about her past relationship, and she tells him that she caught her ex cheating with her. I want to say it was with her stepmother. She says that she was upstairs sleeping. She goes downstairs. She wakes up for some reason. She goes downstairs and she literally catches them in the act, her boyfriend with her stepmother. And she said that obviously she's upset about being betrayed and the breakup and all of that, but what made her even more upset was the fact that she brought this guy into her family, and this is what they ended up doing. They ended up betraying her and her family in this really horrible way. And so she still carries a lot of guilt about that. And so PJ tries to make her feel better. He tries to soothe her, and he tells her that he's liking her more and more each and every day. And PJ asks her, do you like me? And Jess says that usually when she's in a new relationship, she's all over her partner, but she doesn't feel that for him right now. And she doesn't want to force it because, it's not going to be fair to either one of them if she tries to force it or fake it. And so PJ, instead of being discouraged by this, he's actually encouraged. And he says that he's going to just try to work harder to win her over. I think that Y'all, I just don't know if PJ is ready to be married. I understand that he likes her a whole bunch, and maybe being a good looking stripper, it's hard for him to find meaningful relationships and people don't take him seriously. And so he got on this program to try to find a real wife. Of course, that's what they want us to believe. I think the reality of it is, he got on the program to just increase his social media following and probably so he can get better gigs as a stripper. So, but let's just play the game. Let's play along with them that he's really looking for a wife. So I still just don't think that he's ready to be married. I really don't. And I don't think that there's no chemistry between them. And the way these shows go, if there's such a lack of chemistry and attraction in the beginning, even though the whole point of this experiment is to move past the physicality and to fall in love and be attracted to who the person is at heart and not so much about their looks. But if that spark and that initial attraction isn't there, it is what it is for the show and these couples that come on the show. It's going to be really hard to gain that later on, because once they realize, oh, I'm not physically attracted to my spouse, it's downhill from there, because they concentrate so much on that, and they concentrate on it in a really negative way. They continuously remind themselves, I'm not attracted, I'm not attracted, I'm not attracted, instead of truly working to get to know the person and becoming attractive to their spirit, their soul, the personality, their sense of humor. These people are just not going to do it. So yeah, I don't think it's going to happen with Jess and PJ. Moving on to Zoe and Jenna. So they're honeymooning in cold Iceland. I didn't get that, but it was still beautiful. So one of the biggest areas of contention for them is Jenna's veganism. They had a huge discussion about this over breakfast, and I thought that Jenna was very respectful to Zoe about her not being vegan, but I felt like Zoe showed a little bit of disrespect and insensitivity towards Jenna being vegan, because he called her food, she was criticizing her food because she got tofu this, and everything was tofu, I guess, her eggs, her bacon, whatever, it was all not the real thing. And Zoe was like saying things about her food, like, oh, I would never eat that, oh, that looks disgusting. And so I'm just not, Zoe's so fearful of Jenna trying to convert her into veganism, but she's the one that's criticizing her lifestyle more than Jen criticizing Zoe's. So Zoe expresses some type of panic about their immediate future. She says to Jenna that, look, it's becoming a little bit overwhelming for me, because this is all going to end, this honeymoon phase, literally, and we're going to be going back to the real world, and we're going to be living together, and we're going to have to try to make it work. And so she was feeling very overwhelmed about the upcoming future of them really making a go at this relationship. And the pace of the experiment was also moving a little bit too fast for Zoe, which was increasing her anxiety about the situation. Zoe is concerned that Jenna will eventually try to change her into becoming a vegan, and that's kind of putting her off. But why worry about something that hasn't happened yet? Jenna has not shown any evidence of trying to convert Zoe into veganism, so why stress about it? It hasn't even happened yet. So later on, they have a more in-depth conversation, and they kind of, Jenna is able to kind of ease Zoe a little bit, to kind of talk her off the ledge, and let her feel a little bit more at peace and at ease with the experiment. And so it did end on a more positive note. Jenna tried to get Zoe to focus on, the positive areas of their relationship. Moving on to Laura and Richie. So they're honeymooning in Bavaria, and Laura preferred that they would have gone to a warmer climate. Laura wants to move slow with Richie. Richie wants to go full speed ahead. Watching Laura and Richie is very cringy. It's extremely cringy, because Richie and Laura are not on the same page, and they're living in two different realities. and they're not even in the same relationship because Laura is very apprehensive. She doesn't feel that initial attraction for Richie. She's trying to find something because she'll say things like, she's happy that he's a musician. That kind of makes her feel some kind of way. The fact that she said something else positive about him, but I forgot what it was. So she's trying to find things. Oh, that he has a really good heart. He's really caring, considerate. She's trying to concentrate on the more positive aspects of Richie to try to find a way to connect with him, to find an attraction for him. And I think that she's really struggling. Whereas Richie, as soon as he saw her, he was really smitten by her. And he's like diving in head first into this relationship. He wants to be all over her. He wants to be very touchy-feely. He's just like, this is it for me. This is the relationship that I want. So Laura wants to move slow. Richie wants to move a little bit faster. This is what she said. She said that the initial spark for Richie was not there, but she says that it's steady growing. I don't see any evidence of it steady growing so far. Maybe in the upcoming episodes I'll see it, but so far I see no evidence of her attraction for him steady growing. So Richie tells Laura that she might be the first woman that he might fall in love with, and this puts a lot of pressure on her. This puts a lot of pressure on her, to be the first woman that a man has ever fallen in love with, especially at his, big old age. So yeah, that did make her feel warm and fuzzy. It kind of made her feel scared. So from there, they go for a horse and carriage ride, and Richie's excited about it. He's like, yes, we're going to be sitting next to each other. We're going to snuggle up. We're going to do a lot of kissing. We're going to be really lovey-dovey with one another. So the horse and carriage ride, she didn't like it. She was very uncomfortable because he was, very close to her. He had his arms around her. There were so many times that he wanted to kiss her, and she literally tried to avoid it. Like, he would pucker up his lips all up in her face, waiting for a kiss, and she would just kind of like, like move away from him, giggling uncomfortably. And he kept on doing that. He kept on doing this until finally she just gave in and kissed him. So the last day of their honeymoon, Laura can't tell if Richie is loving her for who she is or just the idea of her, because I guess it's sort of unbelievable that he would be falling for her so quickly, especially a man who's never been in love. All of a sudden he's acting like he's falling in love with her so fast and so early on in the relationship. So she's like trying to figure out, is he really developing these feelings for me, or is he developing these feelings for the idea of being married? And she can't really tell. And so over dinner they're having a conversation, and he says he's been looking for a woman. I forgot exactly what he said, but something to the effect of looking for a woman to take care of him. And whatever he said, she took it as, oh my God, so he basically wants me to take care of him, to do things for him, to help him out, to assist him in his life. And what about me? Who's going to be there for me? And so this like scares the hell out of her, because she's like, I didn't sign up to be someone's mother or caretaker or whatever the hell he's expecting. I guess he wanted her to cook for him, clean for him, keep the house for, or something like that. And she was just like, no, that's just not me. That's not what I do. And so she's like, okay, how are we going to balance this out? And she asked him, well, we're going to have some type of a balance. It can't be just me always catering to you. We have to have some type of a balance. And of course he's like, yeah, of course. These people are experiencing two different types of relationships, and he's so oblivious to her her standoffish ways. He's completely oblivious to it. He cannot pick up any signs or any clues that she's just not that into him at this particular moment of their relationship. Moving on to Keisha and Kwame. So the night of their first night as a married couple after they got married, they did sleep in the same bed. The first night went well. Nothing really happened. They're honeymooning in the Maldives. So they arrive in the Maldives. Keisha is extremely excited. She's so happy to be there. On their wedding night, Keisha said that she kind of hinted that she let him know that she was ready to go. Like if he would have given her the green light, it would have been on and popping, and that marriage would have been consummated that very first night. If only he had given her the green light. But Kwame wants to move slow. Keisha, she's ready to go full force ahead, full speed ahead. He wants to move a little bit slower because he doesn't have that attraction for her. So he tells her that being intimate too quickly, it could cloud your judgment. He says, we're not here for foolishness. We're here for realness. Keisha is physically attracted to him, but she has to kind of like control herself so they can go at his slow pace. She can't be just, boom, just all over him the way she wants to be. Kwame wants to get to know her better before they, even think about being intimate. But he does compliment her, and he gives her a lot of compliments, telling her she's attractive, she's sexy, he likes to have the dress looks on her, etc., etc. So he does compliment her a lot, and I hope that he really does mean it, because this can easily come off as him leading her on. Keisha, she's just chomping at the bit, and she's just wanting and waiting to get it on with him. And Kwame, he's just not there yet. So the last night of their honeymoon, over dinner, Kwame says that he likes the slow pace that they're moving. And he says that he tends to get really bored in relationships. And I'm like, Keisha, girl, do you see these red flags, honey? Do you see these red flags? We are waving them like crazy in front of your face. I don't really see it for Keisha and Kwame. I truly, truly don't. Every time that I say that I don't really see it for a couple, there's still a part of me that holds on to hope that at the very end, it can turn completely around and they end up falling deeply, madly in love with one another. And they both say yes on, well, I don't know if they have decision days in the UK, on the UK version, but they both decide to stay together and to stay married. I still hope for that, even though I'm not at all optimistic about Keisha and Kwame or Laura and Richie. Richie needs to really pick it up. He needs to be more aware of what the hell is going on, and be more aware of the signs that she's giving him, that he's kind of coming on a little bit too strong. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Thank you so much for joining me in this review. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.